Hello students, uh, today we are going to discuss the use yes use of free energy in chemical equilibria. Uh, this is the chapter name and our topic name is electrochemistry, right? The module is 2 and lecture number is 12. Yeah, so our subject name is chemistry. The subject code is CH101 or 201. The credit is 3 and the contact hour is 35. So this is our course objective. Okay, the concept developed in this course will aid in the quantification of several concepts in chemistry that have been introduced at the 10 plus 2 levels in school. Technology is being increasingly based on the electronic, atomic and molecular level modification. Yeah. So, this is the course outcome of our course. After completion of this course, you can describe the fundamental properties of the fundamental properties of atoms and molecules, atomic structure, and also you can able to describe the periodicity of the elements in the periodic table. Also, by applying the fundamental concept of thermodynamics, you can sort out so many problems in your industries. Now, you can apply the knowledge of the water quality parameters, the corrosion control and the polymers to different industries, and also you can determine the structure of organic molecules using different spectroscopic techniques, and you can capable to evaluate a theoretical and practical aspects relating to the transfer of the production of chemical products from lab to the industrial scale in accordance with environmental consideration. Okay, so these are the some of the course outcome that we have for our course. This is the lecture plan. So the module is 2 and the the topic name the topic name is use of free energy in chemical equilibrium, and today we will discuss about the introduction of the electrochemistry and also the cell. We will discuss about the cell, what is cell, what do you mean by cell, what are the types of cell that we have. So all these things we will discuss in this in our today's class. Okay. Okay, so today's our chapter is, that is topic is electrochemistry. Now electrochemistry already you have read in your 12th standard. Okay, so just at a glance we will see what you mean by electrochemistry, what is, how we can define the conductors, semiconductors, all these things work, insulators, all these things we will discuss. Okay, so electrochemistry is that the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of production of electricity. Yeah, study of the production of the electricity from energy released during the spontaneous chemical reactions and the use of electrical energy to bring about the non-spontaneous chemical transformation. So, this is all about the electrochemistry. Now, what is the importance of electrochemistry? These are the some of the importance, that is production of metals like sodium, magnesium, calcium or aluminum. Production, the electroplating. Okay, for the electroplating we need the electricity. Purification of metals. Okay, the batteries and cells using various instruments. So for this we should have the knowledge about the electrochemistry, and that time only we can improve the batteries, we can improve the materials in the cells, also you can purify the metals. Okay, so this is the importance of electrochemistry. Now what do you mean by conductors? Conductors actually the substances that allow electric current to pass through them. Conductors are such a metal, such a substrate which can conduct electricity. Conduct the electricity. Generally, the electrons, if we have the electrons, the excess electrons, and that will generally pass the conduct the electricity. So these are the some of the conductors. Okay, for the conductors, the valence band and conduction band will be overlapped, or very for the conductors, so the conduction band and the valence band will be overlapped. Thus, the electron from the electron can go from the valence band to conduction band very easily, and thus they can conduct the electricity. Now, metallic conductor. Metallic conductors or electronic conductors, that substances which allow the electric current to pass through them by movement of electrons. As I told you, the metallic conductors or electronic conductors are those which allow the electrons to pass through them, and by which the electricity also conduct through the substances. Okay. Now, electrolytic conductors or electrolytes are substances which allow the passage of the electricity through their fused state or aqueous solution and undergo chemical decomposition are called by the electrolytic conductors. As for example, aqueous solution of acids, aqueous solution of sodium chloride, these are all the electrolytes or electrolytic solution. Generally, what will happen, these electrolytes while dissolving into the water, they are producing the ions, and which will help to conduct the electricity. So, these are the substance which allow to pass the allow the passage of the electricity through their solution. Okay. Now, electrolytic conductance. The conductance is the property of the conductor. Yeah, the conductance is the property of the conductor which facilitates the flow of electricity through it. It is equal to the reciprocal of resistance, that is conductance, that is equals to 1 by resistance, that is equals to 1 by R. Always conductance of any substances, what will happen, it is reciprocal, it is indirectly proportional to the reverse, it is just the 1 by resistance. Okay. So, the conductance, it is the reciprocal of the resistance 1 by R, and the unit of conductance is Ohm inverse. Okay. The specific conductance or conductivity. The resistance of any conductor varies directly as its length L, and the inversely as its cross sectional area, that is capital A. So, mathematically we can say that R is proportional to the L. R is, that is the resistance, is proportional to the length. The length of the, if the length of the substrate will be long, that time the resistance will be high. Okay. And the cross sectional area, obviously if the cross sectional area will increase, that means the passage through which the electricity will pass, that is very large area. So that is why the resistance will be decreasing. Okay, so R is varies 1 by A. So R is equals to rho L by A, where rho is called the specific resistance, mind is specific resistance, and L by A is known as the Snell constant. L by A, that is L is the length and A is the cross sectional area of the medium through which the electricity is passing. So this is rho is called specific resistance. If L equals to, consider ki our L equals to the length is 1 and cross sectional area is 1 centimeter square, then R equals to the resistance will be equals to the specific resistance. Okay. The specific resistance is thus defined as the resistance of 1 centimeter cube of the conductor, and the reciprocal of specific resistance is termed as specific conductance. Okay, the reciprocal of the specific resistance is termed as the specific conductance, and it is denoted by the kappa. Okay, so thus kappa equals to L by rho, right. Kappa is our specific conductance. Specific conductance is also called by the conductivity. So here rho equals to A into R by L. So 1 by rho equals to L by A into 1 by R. So kappa equals to L by A into C, or specific conductance, that is equals to conductance into Snell constant, C into Snell constant. Okay. So in the case of the electrolytic solution, the specific conductance is defined as the conductance of a solution of definite dilution enclosed in a cell having 2 electrodes of unit area separated by 1 centimeter apart, and unit of this specific conductance is ohm inverse and centimeter inverse. Okay. So this is called the specific conductance. Specific conductance generally what is, it is defined as the conductance of the solution where electrodes are of unit area having the cross sectional area. The cross sectional area of the electrodes are 1 centimeter square and separated by 1 centimeter apart. The distance between these two electrodes will be 1 centimeter apart. So 1 centimeter. So for this case, whatever electricity, whatever conductance we are getting, that is called by the specific conductance. Okay. Next we have the equivalent conductance. Equivalent conductance, generally it is the conductance of an electrolytic solution containing 1 gram equivalent of electrolyte placed between two sufficiently large electrodes which are exactly 1 centimeter apart from each other. It is denoted by lambda. Okay. Equivalent conductance, generally what will happen, in an electrolytic solution 1 gram equivalent of electrolyte are placed. Okay. 1 gram equivalent amount of electrolytic solution electrolytes we are having, and in that electrolyte solution 2 electrodes are there, the which is sufficiently large electrode and exactly there 1 centimeter apart from each other. So for this case the conductance is called by the equivalent conductance, and that is the lambda. Okay. The relation between look, this is very important, relation between equivalent conductance and specific conductance. Equivalent conductance is lambda and the specific conductance is our kappa. What is the relation? So this is the relation. Thus we can prove the relation, we can derive the relation between equivalent conductance and specific conductance. Let the concentration of an electrolytic solution is C. Okay, C normal. Thus for measuring the lambda value, we have to take 1000 by C cc solution. Okay, where 1 gram equivalent substance are there. This solution is placed between two electrodes which is 1 centimeter apart. right? And so cross sectional area of each electrode should be 1000 centimeter, 1000 by C centimeter square. So that is sufficiently large cross sectional area. So A equals to cross sectional area, A equals to 1000 by C centimeter square and L equals to 1 centimeter. So kappa equals to, we know already that L by A into C. Okay, so here we have to put all the values. So C can be replaced by lambda. All the conditions are according to the equivalent conductance. Yes, C here the C can be replaced by the equivalent conductance by as the electrolytic solution we are using that electrolytic solution, that is 1 gram equivalent, and to some and the condition, all the conditions are according to the equivalent conductance. Okay, so that is why C can be replaced by the lambda. So that is why kappa equals to equivalent conductance lambda equals to what will happen, K kappa into A by L, and that is K into 1000 by C. Unit of equivalent conductance is centimeter square ohm inverse equivalent inverse, or centimeter square mho equivalent inverse per equivalent. Okay, so these are the sum of the equivalent unit of the equivalent conductance. Now what do you mean by molar conductance? Now molar conductance, it is the conductance that is electrolytic. If we are taking the electrolytic solution like 1 gram mole, right? So if 1 gram mole of electrolyte is dissolving into the 1 liter of water, so in that electrolytic solution we are having the electrodes which is large surface area having, and which is 1 centimeter apart from each other. That equivalent conductance is denoted by the molar conductance. Okay, so unit of molar conductance is centimeter square ohm inverse per mole, because we are taking the electrolytic solution 1 gram mole, right, or centimeter square mole inverse. Okay, these are the equations, these are the units of the molar conductance. Now like for for one electrolyte like HCl, HNO3, etc. So these are the strong electrolyte. Because why strong electrolyte? Because while we are using this HCl solution, while we are dissolving this HCl or HNO3 into the water, what will happen? It will completely dissociate into H plus and Cl minus, or H plus or NO3 minus 2. Okay, so these are the some of the electrolytes that we have. After dissolving into the water, they are completely, they can dissociate completely, complete dissociation will take place. Equivalent weight for this case, equivalent weight equals to molecular weight, because they are HCl, HNO3. Okay, so in this case lambda molar the molar conductance equivalent that is equals to equivalent conductance. Yes, for 2,2 types electrolyte like ZnSO4, 2,2 types means ZnSO4, Zn plus 2, SO4 minus 2. Yes, this is calcium plus 2, chlorine minus 2 chlorine atoms are there, right? So equivalent weight, for this case equivalent weight is equals to molecular weight divided by 2, right? So in this case lambda molarity, molar conductance is equals to equivalent 2 into twice of the equivalent conductance. Okay, so thus we can relate the molar conductance and equivalent conductance by this way. The effect of dilution on specific conductance. Now what will happen if we are taking the strong electrolyte? That will depend if we are taking the strong electrolyte or weak electrolyte, that will depend. Okay, so for the specific conductance decreases with dilution, specific conductance decreases with dilution. This is due to the fact that the number of current carrying particles, that is the ions per ml of the solution, become less. excuse me, effect of dilution on equivalent conductance. Now look, the conductance of an electrolytic solution depends on the number of ions present in the solution. Hence, greater number of ions give the greater conductance, right. In case of weak electrolyte, with dilution dissociation increases. Exactly. For the weak electrolyte, like acetic acid, if acetic acid is dissolving into the water, they cannot dissociate into CH3CO minus and H plus completely. Their dissociation will be incomplete. But if we increase the dilution, what will happen? Their dissociation will increase, and thus the number of positive and negative ion will increase, and thus the conductance is also increasing for the weak electrolyte after the dilution. Okay. So it can be concluded in both cases equivalent conductance increase with dilution. Now, from the Debye-Hückel-Onsager equation, we can have this lambda C equals to equivalent conductance, that is lambda C equals to lambda 0, that is the minus B into the root over C. So, lambda C is the equivalent conductance at any concentration, any concentration lambda infinite. This is lambda infinite. Lambda infinite is the equivalent conductance at infinite dilution. Okay, this is lambda C equals to lambda infinite minus B into root over C. So, this lambda infinite is the equivalent conductance at infinite dilution, and B is the constant. So, this is the graph you can see. This is the graph for strong electrolytes like HCl, KCl, okay, and this is the graph for the weak electrolyte. Okay, this is the conductance and this is the concentration. When the solution is diluted, the influence of ions on each other decreases and movement of ions become easy. With the increase in dilution, a stage arises when the ions are far apart with no mutual interference. So, further dilution has no effect, right. The equivalent conductance reaches a limit. This limit conductance at infinitely diluted solution is called equivalent conductance at infinite dilution. Okay. Yeah, in case of weak electrolyte, with dilution dissociation of electrolyte increases, hence conductance increases. But in this case, Debye-Hückel-Onsager equation is not applicable. Hence, we got the following type of curve for the weak electrolyte. Okay. Generally, the conductivity of a solution increases with temperature as the mobility of the ions increases. Okay. So, this is all about the conductance. Now, we will discuss about the cell. What do you mean by cell? What are the types of cell that we have? What is the in a cell construction, what are the things that we have? All these things we will discuss. Now, cell. A redox reaction involves the transfer of electrons from one chemical species to another. The energy from a redox reaction can be used to accomplish work by the constructing an electrochemical cell. In an electrochemical cell, the oxidation process and the reduction process are taking simultaneously and separated into two half cells, okay, connected by an external wire. You can see this is the external wire. The both electrodes are connected through the external wire, and that is why the electricity will be generated. Okay. To maintain the electrical neutrality in both half cells, a salt bridge, this is the salt bridge, a salt bridge we have to take, okay, between the two solutions. And if we take this, if you keep this salt bridge, if we use this salt bridge, what will happen? Then the continuous electricity will pass. Okay. Otherwise, if we don't use this salt bridge, we can see after the saturation point the electricity will not pass. Okay. Okay, now there are two types of cell. Actually, we have one is electrochemical or galvanic cell, and one is electrolytic cell. Okay. So, this is the voltaic cell that we have, and this is electrolytic cell. Obviously, electrochemical cell, a device used to convert chemical energy of a reaction into chemical energy, electrical energy, is called the electrochemical cell or galvanic cell. That means a chemical reaction in this electrochemical cell, what will happen? Chemical reaction will take place. For the chemical reaction, whatever is taking place, for that the electricity will be generated. That is called electrochemical cell. But for the electrolytic cell, what will happen? This is a cell which convert the electrical energy into the chemical energy, just the reverse. Okay. So, this is called by electrolytic cell. Okay. So, here is some of the differences between voltaic cell and electrolytic cell, and electrochemical cell or galvanic cell. Okay. Now, what are the differences? That is energy change. The chemical energy, voltaic cell, in voltaic cell what we have, that is the chemical energy converted into the electrical energy, and for the electrolytic cell what we have, the electrical energy will convert into the chemical energy. It is just the reverse one. Okay. Now, cathode anode, generally the cathode, we are assuming the cathode is positive terminal and anode is negative terminal for the voltaic cell, and for the electrolytic cell the assumption is just the opposite, that is cathode is negative terminal and anode is positive terminal. Okay. So, flow of electrons, electron flows from the negative electrode to the positive electrode. Negative electrode, that means to from the anode to the cathode it will flow, and electrons flow from the positive electrode, that means anode to cathode. Okay, positive to negative, and negative terminal the electrons are released. For voltaic cell what will happen at the negative terminal, that means at the anode the electron will be released, and for the electrolytic cell what will happen, the cation receives the electron. Yeah, the cation, the negative terminal, that means here negative terminal is the cathode. So, cathode receive some electron, accept the electrons. Okay. Positive terminal, for the voltaic cell what will happen, positive terminal is generally the cathode, and cathode receive the electrons, and for the electrolytic cell what will happen, the anions release the electrons. Anions, that means the positive terminal will release, that means anode will release the, here positive terminal means anode, that means anode will release the electrons. Okay. So, these are the some of the differences that we have for the voltaic cell and electrolytic cell. Electromotive force, also called EMF. What is EMF? EMF is the voltage developed by any source of the electrical energy such as a battery or dynamo. It is generally defined as the electrical potential, mind it, electrical potential for a source in a circuit. A device that supplies electrical energy is called the seat of electromotive force or EMF. EMFs convert chemical, mechanical and other forms of energy into the electrical energy. Okay. So, this is called the, this is the whole concept of the electromotive force. Okay. Yeah. So, this is called EMF. Now, standard cell potential. So, what are the standard cell potential? Generally, E0 cell can be calculated from the potential, that is for oxidation and reduction reaction measured under the standard condition. What are the standard conditions? Standard condition is 1 molar solution we should have for the electrolytic solution, 1 atmosphere pressure and 298 Kelvin temperature. This will be the standard condition. So, from this standard, if we maintain the standard condition and whatever the cell potential we are getting, that is called by standard cell potential. Okay. Okay, a positive cell potential means the reaction proceeds simultaneously in the direction, the reaction is written in the direction is written, a reaction with a negative cell potential proceeds spontaneously in the reverse direction. Okay. So, the general Nernst equation correlates, general Nernst equation, what is Nernst equation? It can correlate the Gibbs free energy and the dg and EMF of a chemical system, that is known as the galvanic cell. For a reaction like A plus B, we have the reagent A and we have the reagent B. From this, while A and B will reacting and forming the product C and D. Okay. So, for this reaction, the Gibbs free energy, while the Gibbs free energy can be correlated, can be related with the EMF and DG. Okay. So, this is called actually Nernst equation. So, next day actually today we do not discuss about the Nernst distribution law, sorry, Nernst equation, the general Nernst equation we will discuss in our next class. Okay. So, this is all about our today's class. So, today we will discuss, we have discussed about the conductance, right, the equivalent conductance, the molar conductance, the specific resistance, what are the conductors, the metal conductors, the insulators, and what is the relation between the relation between the equivalent conductance and molar conductance, and the, if we dilute the electrolytic solution, what will be the effect on the conductance? If we have the strong electrolyte, what will be the effect on the conductance? If we have the weak electrolyte, what will be the effect on the conductance? So, all this we have discussed. Also, we have discussed the cell. What do you mean by cell? What are the types of cell we have? Generally there are two types of cell we have, that is the voltaic cell and electrolytic cell. So, for the voltaic cell, what will happen? The chemical energy will be converted into the electrical energy, and for the electrolytic cell, what will happen? The electrical energy will be converted into the chemical energy, right. So, these are the some of the differences that we have from the voltaic cell and for the voltaic cell and the electrolytic cell. From this portion you can have this type of question like distinguish between voltaic cell and electrolytic cell, or what are the differences we have for the voltaic cell or electrolytic cell. Okay. What do you mean by EMF, electromotive force? What do you mean by standard cell potential? How you can define the standard cell potential? Okay, so these are the some of the questions, types of questions that you have from this portion. So, next day we will discuss about the Nernst equation, and we will see how this through this relation, how through this equation the Gibbs free energy is related to the EMF. Okay. So, students, you have to follow the class, follow my classes properly and regularly, and I have also given one assignment which you have to submit in time. So, please students, just go through the study material properly, and that time only you can answer the questions of the assignments. Okay. So, thank you students, and see you in the next class.